Good afternoon. My name is Alena Shautsova. I am an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's video, I would like to talk to you about ground of inadmissibility and deportability claim of United States citizenship. This ground comes up, unfortunately, more often than one would think. Usually, it comes up with connection of one's filing for adjustment of status. Let's say you guys are married, husband to wife is sponsoring another spouse, and everything is perfect. You know you have a real marriage, and all of a sudden the officer says, wait a second, we found a form I-9 that you filed when you were working for company XYZ, and on that form you claim to be a United States citizen. How will you explain that? Sometimes it comes up with records that someone actually voted in the United States in a federal election or state election, and they were not entitled to they were not able to vote. Okay, so United States citizens only can vote, and when a person voted, they claim to be a United States citizen. Often also such a claim will be in connection with attempted entry into the United States. Let's say a person used United States citizen's passport to come to the United States and maybe even successfully came to the United States. And sometimes, of course, there are other variations of how it can be uncovered that someone claimed United States citizenship, very often in connection with criminal proceedings. So let's say someone filed for United States passport, submitted false application, or forged United States birth certificate to get driver's license, use someone else's birth certificate to get driver's license. These are all common scenarios as to when and how one will be found to be inadmissible or even deportable when in connection with a claim of the United States citizenship. The bad news is that there is no waiver from it. If you in fact were found for this ground to apply to you, there is no waiver to file for it. There are a couple of situations when there is a waiver, but majority of the people will not qualify for it, and I will explain why. The law exempts only one group of people from this ground of inadmissibility, deportability, is when a person who claimed to be a US citizen has been permanently residing in the United States before the person's 16th birthday, and each of the person's parents were US citizens, and the person believed that he or she was a US citizen. Okay, then this ground will not apply. In all other cases, it will apply. However, special immigrant juvenile status beneficiaries who are filing for adjustment of status or green card are exempt from it. So as people who are filing for the green card based on registry. To qualify for registry, you had to enter the United States prior to January 1st, 1972. And then we're left with people who are filing for adjustment of status based on refugee or asylum status and legalization. For those people, there may be waiver available. And that's that. Everyone else, no. Meaning that, for example, if you have a traditional case of family sponsorship and there is a record that you claim to be a US citizen, used United States citizen's passport or birth certificate, you will not be able to overcome that ground. The law, however, does make little teeny tiny exceptions here and there. So every claim has to be evaluated on facts, very specifically. For example, there is a case law where a person used a United States birth certificate to get driver's license, state driver's license. So it was a state benefit. But in that particular case, the person was found not to be subject to this ground of inadmissibility because at that time, when the person filed for the state license, the law did not require him or her to be a US citizen. And he could have qualified otherwise. And based on that, even though the person did use United States citizen's birth certificate, or false, of course, birth certificate, the person was not subject to this ground. And whether or not you're subject to this ground makes all the difference in the world for you, right? Because if you are, you cannot become a green card holder or a citizen. If you're not, you can proceed with your application. So there are some other little exceptions for somebody who voted, for example, under very, very narrow circumstances. But generally speaking, you should not be claiming to be a US citizen if you are not, okay? Even if you're a green card holder and you're claiming to be a US citizen, you can be deported just because of that, okay? Because of that claim. It's very serious. So no voting unless you become a US citizen, all right? It's very, very serious. No using of any of birth certificates. One last thing about this particular ground. You have to know that very often it comes up, unfortunately, in connection with I-601A applications, meaning that a person, for example, had a problem of calling himself or herself a United States citizen, sort of forgot about it, and now filed and was approved for I-601A waiver, went for the interview overseas, hoping to come back in 2 weeks with a green card, in 2 weeks or less, and instead got stuck there forever because the consul had information or elicited information during the examination, during the interview, that the person is in fact has in fact made a claim of to be a US citizen. For example, somebody was convicted in connection with a forgery of an instrument, state conviction. The consul would ask you, so what really happened? How did this happen, this conviction, how it came about? And the person would say, well, it was a small conviction, I was young, it was a small case. We decided to make a United States citizen passport, and using that, we were going to get driver's license. The person admitted committing not only crime, which he was already convicted for, but also claiming to be a US citizen. And that's a common scenario, more common than you may possibly think, all right? So when you are filing for various immigration benefits and you had a history in the United States, you're not sure, let's say, what happened, how you entered, what was said, what was exchanged at the border when you were entering, it would be a good idea to order your immigration records, and if you have also criminal records, to make sure that you will not have to deal with this issue, that issue of claim of US citizenship is not going to be your issue. And you can read more about United States inadmissibility and deportability grounds and how to deal with them, about possible defenses on our website, www.shautsova.com. Thank you.